farming community, integrating them with FEOs, building building tech platform to trace complete food supply chain from end-to-end solutions. This involves complete supply chain management to reduce waste in pre and post harvest around 35 to 40%. Oidesi is also building awareness by end consumers eating healthy food, which can be preventive health management. I promise you, you will be gaining thorough knowledge on agripreneurship and practical knowledge on global food supply chain. Before beginning this webinar, there are few key points to keep in mind. Please unmute yourself if you have any doubts and you can type this in chat box. They will help. This will help in great understanding of all subjects to the participants. I once again welcome all the participants from the team of Igmatrix and OJC. As we all are aware, in this pandemic time, in order to survive the critical period, each of everyone should be plan ready, market ready. In order to plan and implement things, one should must acquire eligible skill sets. Agmatrix is right here to mold you and guide you accordingly. Agmatrix bridges the skill gaps between our talented youth, agreed sector, and allied industries, rural sector by empowering students and employed youth. Through the wide network of training, placement, internship opportunities, it complements academic education with pre-employment training and capacity building programs. With a view of groom fresh graduates are making ready for the industry. The training programs are carefully constructed by sector-wise domain experts in agriculture based on wide experience, research of knowledge. It is a unique platform where agri students, farmers, agriculturists, companies, NGOs, channel partners, professionals come together and excel their future endeavors. Agmatrix trainees are always preferred for placements and internship opportunities from our client companies in agriculture domain. On this note, I would like to request my team member Soumya to please introduce our honorable guest speaker who will be guiding us today on very important topic, attitude to be an agripreneur. Over to you, Soumya.
Thank you so much.
ಚೆಕ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬರ್ಬೇಕಾ
Happy
ಚೆಕ್
morning.
ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಹೋಗ್ಲಾ 1 ಗಂಟೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ಈಗ ರೆಡಿ ಆಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಊಟ
Thank you so much, Abhilash. Happy morning, all. I'm Soumya from OJC Agritech team. I would like to introduce Honorable Speaker Mr. D.K. Jain, whom is Idea Promoter and CEO of OJC Private Limited. He believes in passion for work, with 30 years of hardcore experience in various sectors, includes textiles, construction, finance, etc. Presently, he is very much interested and passionate about agriculture. By this way, our journey started. I'm an agriculture student. As an agri student, it's very important to know what kind of attitude we should carry in our work. So with this, we select a topic on attitude and agripreneur. I would like to pass on our honorable speaker, Mr. D.K. Jain, to continue the session.
Happy afternoon, all. It's an honor for me to address the young crowd and the people who are really working on the agricultural side. The Agmatrix, which is a bridge between the student as well as the agripreneur who have a kind of a ability that they want to be an agripreneur startup, where they're building the strong footage to connect with the industry as well as the institutions. I really applaud your service, Agmatrix. You're doing really wonderful services. So there are a lot of people who are working on a different domain, but definitely Agmatrix is really doing a great job, and we admire that. And we would love to be participate with you in this initiative, how we can harness the skill of our agri students to make them an agripreneur. That's what we can add values to your efforts. Raikant, I believe we have to change the slides.
Sir,
Yep. So we have to add the screen, or yourself is doing?
no, sir, host will be doing. Just give me a second.
So let host do the job. I just try to give you some the trait of any agripreneur. You have to be start. We always say our all session. We say that anything you want to start, you should have the belief. So I always tell with the line that the belief what you hold at the beginning of the journey will define your journey. Now let us say you start your journey to be an agripreneur, and you have a strong feeling towards that I should be one of the best agripreneur. And once that belief you should carry, and that belief will make you a good agripreneur. That's what I can say to my young crowd. So have a strong belief in yourself, so you can have an the trait of a agripreneur. So the attitude is a very passionate topic for me personally, because I come from the background of the agripreneur family, and we are started my career at the age of 16 to start with the entrepreneurship. So I know what type of an attitude should be there. Any subject which is there, can be taught in your schools, colleges, where you can have a beautiful subject learning, but the attitude nobody teach you. Attitude has to be nurtured. So there where we make the entrepreneur to be a great entrepreneur in any subject. So we just welcome you all to have our session of agripreneur, attitude to be have an agripreneur, and this attitude we should build, which can make you one of the resilience agripreneur. Now, I think you have learned about the agricultural activities, which is through the academic knowledge, where we talk about the history of the farming and change in the green revolutions, what we have happened in India. Then what are the key factors to be an agripreneur? These are the topics which we are going to address, where the food awareness on the post-COVID era is also there, which we have to plan out. And what are the opportunities which are unfolding in today's scenario, where there should be a lot of negative things were happening in the post-COVID side, but there are a lot of positive things are happening in this sector, which we will defining. So we can have a lot of understanding on it. Then what are the opportunities are available in food supply chain? Then we will have a question session with you, so you can have your questions on particularly about the entrepreneur journey, where we can talk. So I'll give it. I believe that host, I think, can you mute all the background sounds?
Yes, sir, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
जातो मैं मीटिंग
Hello. Shall we continue, Ravikant?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the subject of farming we talk about. So there is we divide in a two section. One is the pre-green revolutions, which is define the entire agriculture in India. So what are we have taken a benchmarking of the green revolutions where we can understand what was the pre-green revolutions and what was the post-green revolutions was the scenario was there in the farming side. So pre-lately our agriculturals are, focused on the monsoon side. So we were doing a very natural farming before the green revolution exists in the year 65 onwards. So we had a very traditional methodology of seed planting, then the harvesting, and we had a kind of rutu based, the season based kind of farming and all that we were doing. And in that, our knowledge, awareness of the cropping was a limited, but it was a traditional. But we were an organic cultivators, and our soil was a pure organic, and where we were, getting a great food. But there was a shortage of food was there all the time because there was a lot of pest effect was happening, and virtue of that we will be losing a lot of crop in that process. During the 1965 there was a great famine, and there are some people who have seen that famine has created a shortage of the crop, and virtue of that the green revolution has started working on, and the entire world working on the green revolutions, as well as Indian government also worked very strongly in that. So there are a lot of research happens on the chemical fertilizers and the pesticide users in the field. So where we can, reduce the pestations as well as the microbes which is eating our crops and all that. So we had worked on the certain high yielding varieties of seeds where the hybridizations has given. So we change over our, the irrigation process to the pipe irrigations as well as drip irrigations. And then we worked upon on mechanizations of the agriculture side, which everybody we knows. The time and tenure which is changing. And when we have used this kind of chemical and we have hybridized our seed, so every growth has their own disadvantage. So when we have went on a green revolution, so there was a lot of price we paid, like, the soil fertility has been dropped because of a lot of chemical which we have used. So there was useful of microbes are there, which also got killed. Virtue of that, we lost the soil fertility. Then there was a binding force in the soil, which is always there when the microbial activities happens in the soil. So virtue of that, we also lost our soil with an erosion is happening. And then we went on a borewell kind of things, which is we went to the sea level kind of borewell where we brought the saline water on the surface. So we reduced the fertility by salinity of the soil, where we lost a lot of fertility in it. Then there are chemicals which is really harmful for the environment, which is fested in the air, and we lost a lot of the insect, which is really helpful for our ecosystem, which is we lost. And these are the high price we paid for our mechanized and agricultural side in the green revolutions. We also, seeing that lot of global warming kind of an issues are raised by the NGOs and various community, which is all due to the excessive chemical used in our agricultural activity. And that resulted, a lot of effects on the soil side. But saying that, so there are a lot of advantage also we gain. We got a lot of food which can be fed to the larger populations, because our population, the 65 which was there, and today it is almost 3 times of the populations we are having. So we have to require a food. So we got high productivity crops, so where we can feed larger populations. And this we are all learning in our courses. And there are a lot of high investment which has happened. So we had all marginal farmers. So where we don't have an access to the capitals, we didn't have an access to the new mechanized process, where we have to do a lot of investment on the farming side as well as on the research on the crop side. So that made the marginal farmer, getting reduced to a distance where they were not able to do the farming. And then the government has did an intervention in that, and they try to work upon that, how we can enhance the credit as well as how we can give the best variety of seeds to the farmers, and that went on. But still the economic value of the farmer has not come. Virtue of that, there are a lot of interest went on that how the agricultural side, the interest of the young populations are dropping down, and virtue of that we are not able to thrive that agriculture field as a commercial agriculture. there are a lot of other issues we are seeing in the technology side as well as the financing side, the accessibility of that marginal farmer not able to access to those FPOs. But no, if you see from the last 10 to 15 years, the government interventions on the farming sides, the lot of incentives has been given. So when you see that the electricity subsidies has been given, then the new technology which is done by various institutions also availed to the farmers free of cost. Then there are a lot of high yielding hybrid seeds has been provided, easy credit facility by NABARDs and other institutions, or a micro institution has been provided to the farmer. This enhanced their ability, to adapt to the new technology, which is really gave them a kind of an edge where they can create their sustainable income. But still, there was a lot of gap was there, and that gap has to be fulfilled. So virtue of that, the farmer produce organization has been initiated by the government. In that also, there are a lot of subsidies, matching grants, and various aspect has been provided. But the true definition of an agripreneur is not there. We were still doing the agriculture. But I believe agriculture should not be taken as a traditional cultivations. If you really believe that agriculture can make a real growth in Indian economy and the growth of our GDP, I believe strongly that we should create certain trait, certain ability to become an agripreneur. See, entrepreneur is something that he creates some new innovative models and sort out the problem of the consumers as well as the producers, where he intervention some new process, new technology, or new ideas, and that gap which is there, that he fulfilled. But today, when we talk about the corona period, and in this corona period, I can tell you that the biggest opportunity, if any industry or any sector can have, it's only and only, I can tell you, it's in agriculture. As Soumya was telling that I have personally 30 years of experience in the other various industry. We were in a water environment industries, we are in a construction sites, we are in a software sites. What made me to be an agri entrepreneur? I have realized that there is a big gap, huge gap is available right now in the agri side. If we can take care of even the smallest problem statement out in these sectors, I believe we can create a lot of values in the entire system. So I'm really happy that I'm addressing to the all student fraternity and the experts who are there in the agricultural side, which can understand the basic ingredient to be an agripreneur, which require that has a important strength which we have to have. What really we really understand that when you want to be an agripreneur, you should have an essential quality, which is make you a successful entrepreneur. The subject what you have learned from the colleges, schools, knowledge what you have gained, the skill what you are holding, which can be implemented if you don't carry the attitude to apply it. An attitude will not be taught you anywhere. It is self-generated. You have to generate your attitude. You have to be strong on your attitude that the journey what I have taken on agriculture side, and that belief you should have on that. So you should have a faith in your decision. If I want to be an agripreneur, so you should keep the strong faith on you that I should believe in my decision. Once you have taken up that decision, then you require a strong determination. So I not waver with my decision, whatever it may come. I'll see that I will pursue my career in this agriculture side, and I work upon very strongly. And once you have that determination strong on your subject, then you will carry your persistence on it. So persistence is a key in any field which will make you stand and which make you hold long. And that is where your passion will drive. And once you have a passion towards your subject, you can conquer anything. And the passion gives you a lot of enthusiasm, and enthusiasm will generate a lot of energy. And with that energy, when you drive, any problem will not be a problem, it can be a solution. And the problem which you are trying to solve it, which is a solution, that become an opportunity. And today, if you see wherever we are finding a problem statement in the agricultural areas, you can talk about pre-harvest or a post-harvest, or even the supply chain management, or a aggregation sites, or a last mile delivery, consumer problem addressation. Everywhere there is a problem statements are there. That means we have a huge opportunity. We have such a fantastic opportunity. If we focus on those opportunity one by one, I think that can create an amazing business model where we can say that this is not an agricultural industry. It is itself is an industry where we can thrive in a multi-billion-dollar industry. And this is what I'm foreseeing it. And I can tell you something that when we have initiated a journey of OEDC with a clear understanding that we will drive the market. When we say the statement that we will drive the market, that means it's a big statement. It comes with accountability. It comes with responsibility. Then it also requires that passion. If I don't have a passion to make this happen, I believe I can't create a team. When I have to create a team, that should be passionate team. That should be energetic team. The team should have a strong faith on the concept of agriculture or agripreneurship. So when you have that passion in the system, that will generate so much of energy that any challenges you encounter, the experience we call challenges, I generally always categorize as an experience. So experience by experience, you generate your perseverance power, and that perseverance power will make you a strong resilience personality in terms of agripreneur. And you have to generate that perseverance. You always have to be mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Whatever the factual things are happening, you should not deviate your mind from the subject where you are attending the subject. Now, let us say I give you a classic example. Now we are doing this session. So my whole focus should be, see that this session should be a very mindfulness. That is why all the time I said, please stop your background noise. That will disturb the decorum of this entire session. What does it mean? So if you are mindfulness, you can take maximum out of this session. When you take maximum out of these sessions, you gain. When you gain, definitely you will implement. When you implement, you will be a successful on that. And that is where we talk about mindfulness. Whenever you do anything you do, even though you are reading a book, you should be mindful with the subject. Then only it gains your knowledge. You will make maximum out of it. So once you are mindful, you know where you are working, where you are focusing, wherever you are thinking, what creative mindset you create. And that is the importance. Any problem statement, if you see in a creative way, you can see that this is a beautiful, options we can exercise. Now I'll give you one small example. I've been to a field where the guava farming is happening. So there is a lot of challenges they were facing in a C grade quality. So I realized that the problem of that farming community could be a solution for me. And I realized that C grade is nothing but a cosmetically not good planning. Plants are there and there are some fruits which is in an odd size. He immediately told, you give me this fruits, we'll make a powder out of it. We introduced a guava powder. Then we realized there is a lot of leaf out of the guava plants are there. And those leaves are just they are throwing out. We made those leaves as a guava leaf powder, which can be used in the tea substitute. Again, value addition. So the problem for the farmer was there, but we made use of by creative thinking that we can make a value additive product. This is where your mindfulness comes in the subject where you can think creatively. And once you do that, you become an empowering speaker or empowering communicator. Now, what is happening here in village side, if you go, we have a lot of farmer community, they are not able to express themselves, but they know much better than us. But if you try to empower them and try to communicate well with them, they will teach you a lot. I tell you, I have no idea about agriculture background, but I have learned everything from the marginal farmer. I have sat with them. I have understand with them. Then we motivated them to speak out whatever they have a challenges, and that made me a complete understanding of agriculture. Today what I'm speaking about agriculture is just because of my attitude to be an entrepreneur under the agriculture side. So I can proudly say that yes, I can communicate well with the people who has a problem, where I can create a thinking, where I can give them a value-added solution. That is the basic attitude everybody we should have. And that attitude will thrive you like an entrepreneur, which will make you something which you can say that, yes, I am an entrepreneur. And this is where we talk about the attitude we should have. And know if you see the COVID era which is running, if you divide the world, we just take out of green revolutions where we have spoken earlier that the green revolution is a benchmarking. No, I believe we have to change the dynamic. Entire dynamic of every business has changed. It is a pre-COVID era and it's a post-COVID era. Now the entire system has been benchmarked on the COVID period. Now people think that COVID really destroyed the market. It has dropped the jobs. It has slowed down our economy. Yes, absolutely. There are certain sectors which are really slowed down. You can say the travel industry or hotel industry or hospitality industry. Those areas are really suffered. We understand because of they are dependent on the economy to be driven. But saying that the agriculture is the only area where economy cannot slow down. It cannot slow down because the entire humanity has to thrive on the food, and the food has been grown by only agriculture. And the agricultural field which can generate the economy today. And if you see the data which is available in the government domain, from last 1 year, if the GDP has grown, the GDP growing only in the agriculture sector, where you can see what are the opportunities. If you can see the new startup which is coming up with the new solution, small solutions are making a big impact because that really adding values. So we should have a kind of awareness what exactly the business module we should develop. It is depend on your temperament. Individually, everybody has their own temperament, whether they want to be an entrepreneur or they want to take a job. But even though if you take a job, what I really tell that you should work in an organization where they says that you might be working here, but you are an entrepreneur working in enterprise. In OEDC, so many agreed people are working with us. There are various software people also working with us. There are supply chain management people are working us. I have a very clear understanding to them that you might be an employee at the moment, but you have to think yourself that you are a entrepreneur working in these organizations. If you don't think like an entrepreneur, I believe I can't give you a job. You have to act like an entrepreneur. So that kind of responsibility we vested upon. So the thinking mindset change of the youth. So we want to make the change in the thinking mind of the entrepreneur. So they have to think like an entrepreneur, even though they work as an employee. That is a very key. Now, even though if you think like an entrepreneur in any sectors, wherever you take your profile, I believe no employer can deny you a job, because every employer want a manpower, a people team which can take their business in a next level. And unless you think like an entrepreneur, I don't believe that any business can thrive where the employee can take the business to the next level. The entrepreneur thinking is very important in that. Now, what is happening the post-COVID era? There are a lot of food habit has been changed. The people who were, casual with their food practices, they realize that the COVID virus is attacking the people who have a low immunity system. Now they realize the essential of what is good eating habit as well as what is bad habit practices were there. So if you see from last 15-20 years, we are prone to have a lot of junk foods. So people do a party on a pizza, party on a burger, party on so many things, and we are substituted our good health drink to the Coca-Cola or a carbonated drinks basically, and that has really killed our immunity system. And if you really today see, we are more on a food which is really not giving us so much immunity. So we are vulnerabilize ourselves that we have a less immunity. So any small virus, bacteria attack us, we get vulnerable to any diseases. So this COVID has given a lot of insight to the people that if we eat right food, it can make us immune to any kind of virus and bacteria. So the healthy food practice has started. And that means there's a new avenue of opportunity. There's a new way of thinking, a new way of creating a business model has been initiated, the system. Now, I always see any disaster which happen in the surroundings that will carry some seed of opportunity. If you think in a creative way and convert that disaster or a kind of misery to an opportunity side, that become a business model. See, I am a businessman. I talk to you how to be a great businessman. Knowledge, doing agriculture practices, skill what is required, that always institutions are giving you. I can give you only the things that how you can catch the opportunity. Now, when we talk about the agriculture, so it should not be local. Our Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister, has given a beautiful slogan, act local and thrive global. And that's the policy ODC carries. So we want to act local, but thrive for a global. And that thought process itself open up that how we can create a global food chain. In fact, I want to tell you something that we have a very big goal as a ODC. We are aspiring to be a greatest food bowl for the world. That's what our whole motto is going on. And we are working very strongly on that side. So how we can develop our farmer community, how we can address their challenges in terms of soil conditioning or a seed side or a financing sides to market connect, creating a logistic supply chain, everything we are addressing each and every. In that entire supply chains, we are building a lot of stake owners. So these stake owners who? They're all new startups, entrepreneurs who are coming in our way. We are working with them very strongly. And there where we are talking about opportunity. When I can see those opportunity, you are a masters of those kind of subjects. I think you can do it much better than us. Is it not? So what I really talking about, the world right now looking for an India to be a collaborative for their food supply chain and their food domain. The reason, the basic reason is that the trust factor which they had on certain big countries like China, because of this pandemic, which has been created a shadow of doubt that there are some countries who have played a real big role to generate a bio war, So the China got really backstabbing in that, and the India is emerging as a first choice of the entire global countries that we should be reliable supplier for them. And that's a big advantage for us. And being a young crowd, being a young entrepreneur, being a agricultural knowledge domain person, and so much of land which is unutilized, I believe each and every person who go to the remote villages, even though I think so many participants we are here and they are connected with some village, go to your village, identify some farmers which has a less marginal lands and make aggression of that and tell, I will work for you and let us grow something. I think there is a big opportunity can be created. And in that area, you can develop a kind of small clusters, either a farmer produce group or either farmer produce organizations, and you can create a very big business model. And that's an avenue right now we have. And the government is supporting 100% today. And there are a lot of subsidies, loans has been given by the government to make a sustainable agricultural practice. And if you see the entire shift of food habit, which is change, where we are talking about the whole world is looking for an organic cultivations, and we are predominantly organic cultivator before 65. We don't have to learn something. We have to go back and just revisit our background where we can create our organic cultivations again. Yes, we have used a lot of pesticides. We have, over exploitations of our land has been done. So there is a little bit erosion is there, but again, it can be revived. If we do little bit understanding on that, we can nurture the organic cultivation. People always say that in organic cultivation, yield drops. Yes, I understand, because of the fertility of soil has been eroded. Naturally, first time when you do, there will be a yield shortage. But once you start working on, the yield will come to a complete 100%. And in fact, I can tell you that we are having a practices where we have taken a 150% yield than the conventional agricultural activities. We have taken a high nutrition productivity. It is possible. It is not that. It is just a myth that we cannot have a bigger growth in organic productions. Now, what happened? The science has evolved. Science has evolved. We have created a lot of manures, which is a concentrated manure, where we talk about the organic manure like Jivamrit and other concentrated manures we are talking, concentrated cultures we are talking that can take care of our soil fertility as well as pest control mechanisms. We can take care organically. And that knowledge is available today, which was not predominantly available earlier to it. Now, when we do that, we can start connectivity with our local farmers. We can talk to farmers and build up our rapport with them. So you are building up your community there, and we empower the farmer what to do, how to do, and when we educate them, I believe we can start empowering farmer where you can make your own syndication, that we call backward integrations. And if you develop that backward integration, the farmers, once you have strongly communicated, he can work with you for a crop planning. And the crop planning is the essential today, because we are working on a production where our neighbor, if he has started cultivating tomato, everybody go tomato. If somebody has done a cucumber, everybody do a cucumber. Somebody has done a guava, they will do guava. So that kind of rat race we should not have in our field. We should have a very wisdom on the planning side where we can do the crop planning. We can understand the demand from the front end side. So there are a lot of startups who are working in the urban areas, in agriculture side. We can get integrated with them. We can convert the demand from them, and we do the crop planning. And there is an essence where we can do a crop planning and we can develop the demand-based harvest. Right now, we do the harvest and then we generate a demand. And there is a lot of value erosion happens in the crop side as well as pricing side. And if we just work upon the demand is there, and on demand base, we do the harvest, and that require essential skill of crop planning. And the next chapter, we come on the opportunity where we have a pre-harvest as well as post-harvest side. And if you divide the entire opportunity in that, there is a two segmentation of it, where we have a pre-harvest as well as post-harvest. So there are a lot of activity happens during the pre-harvest side. So if you see, you can find out or identify the opportunity under the pre-harvest side. If you see in our villages, we don't have a laboratory. We have a number of villages are there, and we have a less laboratory for a soil testing. What is the fertility of the soil? If you have to see, then only we can enrich that soil. We don't have that data. And how many farmers are going? It's a marginally percentage, right? If you say it could be a point, some dot percentage. But if somebody take an initiative, I can create a laboratory chain across district or across state or across India. That can be a new model of developing a business in agriculture side. Then there are, development where we can talk about seed development. Now we have a lot of hybrid seeds, but other than that, we have our native seeds also, which can germinate by themselves, which we call heirloom. And if you see in the organic cultivations earlier to 65, we had all had a beautiful native seeds, and that native seeds build the reliability as well as self-dependability of the agricultural farmer. You don't have to buy next time seeds. But today, if you see the hybridized seed, we have to buy. They have some advantage as well as some disadvantage also. But what I really believe, anybody of us can develop a seed development program where you can collect some of the native seeds and start breeding it and multiply it. I believe that's a big business, because we buy our native seeds from various states, from various farmers, and we buy at very heavy cost, because we want to develop a native seed library in OEDC. The OEDC, we have to develop native seed library to make self-reliant of our farmer. And if some of them catch up that native seeds, I believe we can be a great partner with you. We can develop you as a seed librarian. And that is today's need. If you work today, I believe within the 5 years of time, we can develop a sufficient seeds which can create a self-reliance on our seed requirement. And that can be a very big business model. When we do on the native seeds and organic sides, there's another business we'll develop, we call biomanures, we call. And biomanures, which we can develop from our cattle assets. Every village has cows, every village has goats, sheep, pigs, everything is there. The dropping of that can become a biomanures. We can enrich that. And today, enriched manures are selling like a hot cake, and it sells at a very high cost. The plain cow dung, we are buying 1 rupee 50 paisa kg or 1500 rupees per ton. And if it is enriched, we buy at 10 rupees a kg, that means 10,000 rupees a ton. It's a huge profitable business if you really see it. But we require whether we want to soil ourselves in that. That's an attitude required. But I do myself. I have developed a certain field where we do the biomanures. We are enriching them and we are creating a captive arrangement for us. Then we come to animal assets. We have a huge animal assets in India, and that's a blessing for us. Though we have neglected a lot of cattle, but I believe if we focus on the cattle side, the government has given a lot of subsidies, a lot of advances on the cow-based farming and cow development, which we have a very big program we are running it. We have a sheep, goat nurturing, hen nurturing. You can have the business model out of it, as well as we can use the waste dropping out of that also to supply to the biomanure units, which can convert your waste to a profit side, which you can create an enriched fertilizer. Then there is another segment which open. Now all these activities are skill based and all that. Then you have we call as a Zen economy. The world is going towards Zen economy. I don't know how many of you have heard of the Zen economy, but if you really see the earlier age, we have a industrial revolution, then we have a green revolution, then we had a IT revolution, then we had a IoT revolution, and today we are going on a Zen revolution. Zen revolution is nothing but a knowledge-based economy. If you have a knowledge of certain traits, if you educate the people, and that knowledge can give you a money, and that we call agri advisory. If you can have a mastery over your agri advisory, if you can understand the lacking in the agri side and you substitute a solution towards it, and you can give them an implementation ideas, I believe that become a very great business model. Again, you can do that. And you can also create a business model and integrated pest disease management, which is today the essentially required. Every farmer does not understand when we have required pesticide to be used, when we require fertilizers to be given. They know this is to be given, but when, what stage, they don't know. If we can provide that advisory to the farmers time to time on a real-time basis, I believe that can add a lot of values, as well as you can make a lot of good business model. And these are business models you can focus on the pre-harvest side. Now we come to a post-harvest side. So when you go to the post-harvest side, the maximum losses of the agri produce are happening on the post-harvest side. And there is a lot of shortages of storage. There is a lot of shortages of packing house. There is a lot of shortage of cold storages are there. Now, if you just focus any one of them on a micro level also, if you can develop 1,000 square feet to 5,000 square feet of storage areas, or you can develop a cold storage where again the government has given a lot of incentives on it. And if you tap that, and again you operate on the startup category, you can harness those funds from the government, as well as you can have a lot of funding from the group of the farmer itself. And that will another business ideas you can develop on it, which require a lot of concentrations. You have to gather the networking of the farmers. You can talk to them. Okay, no, if you see the farmer producer organization when developed, they take 1,000 rupees as a subscription fees. Some people take 10,000 rupees also, but the government give equal amount of matching grant. And if you develop those kind of farmer group and you tell them that, okay, I will develop this cold storage under this FPO group or under this FPG group, you will access to the funds very comfortably and easily. And once you develop this food storage chain, you tap to any company who are working on the forward side, the front end side in urban area. You can tell them, I can supply you all this crop. I can integrate you to farmer. You can be a bridge between these both, and you can develop a new business model. And that is what we are thriving. If you can see, a lot of models are there today. If you can see, a Ninja Card is one of the best thriving business model, which is operating. They are doing nothing. If you really ask me, they are just going to the farmers, making an integration of those farmers group and telling that what crop you are having, and they just buy it and supplying to the urban shops where they do B2B business. And that's what they are doing. And you see how the business model is developed. And these are all business developed because they have the focus on what they have to do. Then we come to a packaging part. And if you see the entire food, perishables specifically, if you don't pack in a right order, it perish. There are some green leafies are there which can perish overnight, 24 hours, it can become a very dull looking and all that. But if you preserve it in a right order, it can go for 3 to 4 days. We have done experiment. We have done experiment on compostable material where we use certain material developed through the cornstarch, and that's a waste starch. We have done through that, and that material, if you pack for a green leafy, it can go for 4 days maximum. We have done the testing and we are doing it. Then there are certain crops which is absorption powers are more. If you pack it in a proper packaging with the proper the ventilations and all that, it can go for 6 to 7 days. For a sake of tomato, we can say tomato I keep personally 7 days in our storage without cold storage. In normal temperature, we are keeping it and it is doing wonders. So our post-harvest side, when we do the packaging, you can save a lot of wastages. Right now, if you see the benchmarking is somewhere around 30 to 35% is there. And if you can save that component at least by 20-25%, there's a margin. And that type of margin is a very good margins in any business you can say. And that is the business opportunity, you can have it in agriculture side. When you focus all this opportunity, you should have a passion for every business model. And if you have that passion and you have a mindfulness on the market trend, you can always integrate your local business to the global business. When you work upon your global business side, always there is an export potentials are there. Now you should not do a one-way communication always. Let us say Australia, I want to tell you an example. If you export Australia mango, hello, can you mute Akshay?
Life I was not life.
Done. You will be given a scope to communicate when after this session. I will address each and everybody's question. Please maintain the decorum of the session.
I'm muted himself.
Beautiful, thank you. So when you focus on your business model, when you have a passion towards and you become a mindfulness on your business, you always trigger the some opportunity the export side. When you focus on the export side, you always focus that it should not be one-way kind of an entry. It should be a two-way. So there are some fruits we import. When you export, you also can import. So you can make your business model two-way, where we are also operating certain product we are exporting right now to the Toronto, all the way Canada. And we see that if I can import something pulses from the Canada, what value addition we can do? We are trying to work upon that. So you have to focus. So the export market can create a very, very big business model today, and that can fetch you a good price also. The entire business model for an entrepreneur is only on one thing which I can tell you. Don't think that what is your net worth. Never focus on your net worth. Net worth will not define your entrepreneur journey. It is what is your networking that defines your entrepreneur skill. You should network with each and everyone wherever you think that I can add a values or I can receive a values. Networking is the key to be successful in entrepreneur journey. Very, very important. You network with your farmer, you get a supply chain. You network with your customers, you will get a demand areas. You will network with your logistics side, you will get a logistic chain. So that networking will make you a resilience entrepreneurship. That is a very key attitude you should have. Then if you think on post-harvest, also there are a lot of subjective challenges are there. Now, when we talk about B grade, C grade quality, which fetch a lesser price. Now, this COVID opened up a new business avenues, which is under the food processing sector it comes. if you see that, I just told you that guava made a powder. So how we made a powder? First we dehydrated it, then we pulverized it and it became a powder. And you see this a very simple herb. We had a moringa. Who was knowing about the moringa? We were discarding the moringa leaf. Only we were having a fruits of it. Somewhere we make a curry out of it or we make a sambar out of it. But who thought of that moringa powder could be a global demand? The moringa leaves will not sold at 60 rupees today. It's selling at 350 rupees a kg. Imagine what kind of opportunity open. And our jackfruit, which is in our neighborhood, we used to climb to the trees and we used to take that jackfruit. And today that jackfruit become a highest enrichment of protein. And everybody look for the protein, and that become a business model. So we have to be, focus on the area where we can add a values, how we can take a mindfulness on that, there where we can create a business model. And when you create any kind of business models, you have to be focused that you should not leave any certification. Today, the government has initiated a lot of certification program and easily available, very, very cost effective. In fact, for a startup, they have given a lot of incentives for a certification. You should also foray in a ready to use food. You can make that food industry. I have a lot of people here in Bangalore where they have created a healthy snacky kind of a product where they are making a good value addition. So there are a lot of business opportunities are available which we can focus upon. And the important factor, what I really believe, very, very clearly, I can say that you should have the important state where you should have a passion, and that passion has to thrive your strong communication skill. And once you have that communication skill, you can build your team. And once you have that strong communicative team, you can charge your team with the faith what you are focusing on, and that faith will take you somewhere around the growth chapter which you make it, and you can add a lot of value to the business. And any business model, if you don't have a value based system, that business will not thrive. You should create a value. If you talk about you are going to give the organic food, means organic only, you should not do a manipulation on that the value you should keep it, and that value will give you a lot of thriving in the business model. And any business you do, there should be a methodology to it. You should create a system, and that system we call SOP, standard operating procedure we call, or you can say a kind of a process you can call. You should have that. So what happened, that standard operating procedure will be given to your team. That team can operate in the, otherwise you have to train them again and again. So you create your methodology how to operate, and every individual business can have their own methodology. It is not that some company is giving you benchmarking methodology. You have to create your own methodology, because the business what you are in, the temperament what you have, according to that temperament you can develop your methodology, but you must develop your methodology. These are the key factors. If you can add on, you can be a great entrepreneur, I can tell you. And the last thing which I can tell you, people talk about competency, competitions and all that. Never focus on competition. I want to tell you, never focus on competition. Always see that competency has to be developed. Competency has to develop, because competency, nobody bother about it. Only they talk about competition. So what we try to say that there is no product monopoly. Anybody can copy your product. Any can imitate your product. Today, the whole challenging is service. How you serve your customer. Whether are you upserving, that is very key. In service industry, there is no competition. Nobody can duplicate. Nobody can copy. It requires attitude to serve the people. It requires real attitude, and that can be your real USP. That's how you can demark separately, and that is the service what you can provide, and that demarks you a separate agripreneur. You should say, I'm a very unique, different, maverick, a kind of an entrepreneur, and that makes you a different entrepreneur. I believe this is a great insight to address you all young boys and girls. You have any kind of questions, please you can write or send me in a chat box, so I can answer you.
Thank you, sir, for the valuable guidance. If anyone has your questions, please you can post it in the chat box so that sir can answer.
can speak also if you want to. I can answer you.
Yeah, you can mute yourself and speak. Sir
Yes,
is
sir.
open for questions.
So, good morning, sir.
Happy morning.
Yes. So, myself, Gaurav Reddy, sir. So, it's a very
Yes.
pleasure in meeting you, sir. It's a very good interactive session that you have been given right now. Sir, actually, I have a question regarding the research methodology or the business hindsight research that what one can be doing, sir. For example, if a person is ought to be having creating their enterprise in the future, he would be having an idea. For example, organic farming or else the hydroponics or whatever it may be. How can he or his team gonna be having the research until the establishment of his company or the enterprise, sir?
Good question. Very nice question. We have a Google Baba. Okay. The primarily message informations you can get from the Googles. So if you search, see, you should ask the right question. What I'm saying, Gaurav, if you write a right question to the Google will give you entire load of information. The research is available. Research is available. What type of hydroponic you want to do, what type of organic kind of things you have to do. That information available up to a level where you can build what size of hydroponic, what type of hydroponic, 1 layer, 2 layer, what type of hydroponic you want to build. Every knowledge is available on that, and that research you can all the research agencies do the same thing. There is no great science. Nobody will visit to the factory and identify some kind of research material. This is the secret I want to tell you.
Sir.
If you have specific questions related to the hydroponic, you can ask, I can tell you.
Sir, actually, I too have some amount of the theoretical knowledge in the hydroponics. So how come I can be able to gain the practical knowledge through this, sir? Because these
Good.
people are charging a count of 5,000 or the 10,000 for the simple courses that what we can be going for hands-on training in the small institutes. So how can I get the information, the practical knowledge by avoiding these courses?
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. This is the honest submissions which you are trying to say. And I believe I'm answering to you, but this is the question answer for everybody, all the youth who are there in this field, correct? Attitude does matter. Okay, attitude does matter. Now I tell you, I recruit a lot of agri-tech people. Okay, as soon as they come, they're all new. They're a trainee. In fact, trainee, I can tell you. They come to me and they negotiate with me a salary. I always try to say, I'll give you a practical understanding. I'll give you an entire system. You please work upon. We will see your salary once 3 months is over. I will see your temperament. I will see your understanding. But they don't come to that. You know, they says my salary should be, sir, 25,000 rupees. I should have 30,000 rupees. Now you tell me, an institution like us, can I bank upon those agri-tech without any experience, understanding of 25,000-30,000 rupees? Gaurav? Now, what
Yes,
I'm trying to say, as you wait, I'll answer completely. So you rightly said that you pay 5,000 rupees or some, even though you paid a lakhs of rupees in your educations in BSc or MSc or MTech or whatever you have done agriculture courses, those educations also does not give you the practical understanding what industry can give you. Now, I believe the Agrimax should come in here. Agrimatrix has to come in here that they can try to create a kind of a curriculum where they can give a practical training session also to this kind of agri graduates, where they can do a hand-on experiential services, where that particular experience services can be part of the courses, and then they can give a numbers. And I believe that will make you a self-reliant on terms of doing a practical agriculture, whether it is a hydroponic or whether it is a field service. This is essentially required. And Gaurav, you are a one representative of all youth, which has to raise this voice to the colleges. In fact, in Agricultural Science University here in Hyderabad, Dharwad, I always debate with them, why you people are not doing this. You should do it. You give a 1 degree certificate and these people are not able to do practicality. Now I want to give you that. I think you heard Somya initially. Somya has given a brief introduction. She is also a new to us and she is about 6 months working with us. She came and she told me that, sir, I want to be a seed breeder. Only one focus goal. We wanted one young seed breeder. So I told, okay, Somya, will you be able to take a charge over the entire vertical? I have gambled, I have gambled my entire stake of seed breeding with her. And I motivated her, and she is today heading the entire chief division at the very young age. You imagine? But how many institutions can do that gambling? You getting it? Gaurav, so what I believe very strongly, that in the course material itself, if we have a 6-month kind of a practical understanding on the field, they should go to the industry and they have to operate upon. I believe your fees can be justified.
Yes, sir, it is. It's a very kind explanation from you, sir. As you rightly mentioned, if the Agmatrix contains a courses like this, where we can be having the practicality knowledge, it would be great enough for all these entrepreneur journeys, sir.
No, I have a good appreciation for Priti madam, and she is really talking very good prospective things for you young, graduates. She really wanted to develop certain curriculum, and I appreciate her that she is really thinking about that. And the first step is thinking. You should think first. Once you start thinking, then the things evolve. So you will going to get, I think, very beautiful modules from the Agmatrix.
Sure, sir. Eagerly waiting for this, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, I think the Ankit Kundu is writing that as a young entrepreneur, when we are going to apply for a different agri incubations program, they are looking for something innovative. But I think startups and traditional business is a better than innovative startup cause. It involves low risk. How we will overcome with this? I need to get incubation support from the different agri incubation. You have answer in your question itself. First point, there is nothing new. If you see, the search has been added that is why it is research. That means the subject was already available. You have done research. You have just visited again. So that is why we call research. Correct? Subject was there. Now, when you are trying to talk about that as a young entrepreneur, when you go for an incubation, why you have to go for validation that incubations? My question is very clear. Why not you work with some farmers? You get a 5-6 farmers and tell, okay, I will work for you and let us do something and create some module there. And then you show to your incubation, see, I have done this. These are the group is getting this. And that itself is a validation. That requires an attitude. See, what is the problem right now with our young entrepreneur is that everybody are in a valuation race. I'm telling you, it's a blunt truth. We have to understand, because we have some agri-tech which is captured a high valuation. Now we have that fascination. I also start agri-tech and I become somebody will come, some private equity will come, they will fund me, and then we get that. This is a wrong notion. You should not have that. Build a model first. Develop the model. People will search you. You should not go for searching. I'm telling you that OEDC has got a lot of offer for funding. We said we are not interested. We are not interested. We will be doing our own funding, and we will create a model where even the small micro entrepreneurs also be a part of it as a stake owner, and we are building it. So I believe, see, why you require incubations when you have already knowledge from the agriculture universities and colleges? Why you require incubation? Incubations require for those people who have a less knowledge, practicality, they do not understand properly. I believe you are capable of doing that. You just start with 5 farmers in your own area, own village, and it will give you a value additions. That's what I can say. Anyone?
Audience, any questions?
Yes. Hello, sir. This is Varun.
Yes, Varun.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much for your insights regarding agripreneurship. My question is, for a fresh graduate like me, is it wise enough for me to straight away start my entrepreneurial journey, or to get hold of the corporate environment for a few years and then start my own startup, sir?
If you ask me, you are already late. If you ask me, you are already late. When you started your, college admission, that time itself you should start this. I tell you my experience. I tell you my experience. When I went to my college, I'm a Marwadi. Okay, I want to tell you something. So when I went to the college, I realized that these people does not have expenses keeping some module. So I made one small dairy. I bought from the market and I purchased at 1 rupees. I gave them a 1 rupee 50 paisa. What I did, I made a columns in it, accounting columns, debit and credit, simple things, nothing else. So I said this book you write. जब भी पैसा पॉकेट का मिलता है तो उधर लिखने का, राइट साइड में लिखने का, जब खर्चा करता है तो आपको लेफ्ट साइड में लिखने का. And that what small skill I gave. You know, I have sold all the 30. I had a 30 student in my classroom. So 30 books I sold, 30 rupees I made. Then that become neighboring section. So in my college fees I have covered in that. I can tell you. So there is nothing late and early. I want to tell you something. When you want to start, that's a decision making. Decision could be great or decision could be low, but decision should be taken. I mean to say decision should, that's the skill of an entrepreneur. You may fail, it's okay, but you learn. Na?
Yes, true.
Got it, Varun?
Very true. Yes, sir.
Does
Yes,
that-
sir. Very true.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. This was really useful.
Make decision. That's what I'm saying. Make decision. Don't wait for a decision.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Hello, sir.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, sir.
Happy afternoon, Anuradha.
Yes, sir. Anuradha this side. So my question is, if I started my own manufacturing unit,
Okay.
and as there is a wide market, then what strategies will you suggest for marketing to sustain?
Good question. So I believe you would have decided what product you are going to be manufacturing.
Yes, sir.
Can I know the product name?
So fruits and vegetable, I want to enter in fruits and vegetable processing unit.
So what you will do processing when you say whether you want to do a kind of pulping, whether you want to do dehydration, some process will be there.
Nutrition products, as its shelf life is too long.
So what you are going to do?
So as you just said that we grow tomatoes and we have producing of tomatoes. So what I'll do, I'll make tomato powder. Then we have very
Okay, great. I understood. No, you said a tomato, fine. I understood. So when we talk about tomato, let us say, or any fruit, any vegetables, I can talk. Okay. Never ever try to process A grade quality. Always go for B and C grade quality. C grade means not rotten one. Cosmetically not looking good. Understand very clearly. Which will give you a very cheaper price comparatively A grade. I can tell you if A grade tomatoes are selling, let us say 15 rupees kg, your B grade will be around 10 rupees and C grade will be around 7 or less than that. So when you plan that type of strategy, you will get lesser price raw material. And wait, Suresh. Anuradha?
yes, sir.
Yeah, so you're hearing. Okay,
Yeah.
so what I'm saying, so once you have that material, you can do the first dehydration process. You can do pulping where the tomato sauce or ketchup can be developed, pulp can be created out of it. And pulp you want to sell in a bulk volume also, there are a buyer. And if you want to sell in a loose pack of 50 grams something or 100 grams some pack, no, the pouches are also available, readily available. You can go to any DTP fellow who can create your brand, put it, and right now we have a social media site like Facebooks are there where you can position your brand in, but strategy content should be very good and start selling. Market is there, market is open completely.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, but you have to position yourself very good. I tell you, any business people who create a product, they should know where I should pitch it. First point, you have to identify your pitching, then where I position and how I position. That is very, very key important factor.
So there is one more question from the audience, Neha Kumari. How to handle the situation when you need to be an entrepreneur?
How to handle the situations when we need to be. Let's experience the situation and then see what is the situation about it and handle it. You define the situation. I can tell you. See, you are walking on a road. Let us say I give you a classic example. Okay, Neha. Okay, you are walking on a road. Do you know that on that road there will be no stones, there will be no thorns, or there will be no kind of an obstruction? Correct? You don't have a predefined understanding that road will be clean. You have to walk unknown destination. Suddenly you see some rock is there. Now what you will call some experts that how to remove that rock, or you will just overcross that? Very simple. Yeah, if you have any situation, explain. I can tell you a specific situation. This is a generic word. Hello.
Any questions from audience?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
It's Neha Patil here. So my question is, sir, as we know that to outstand the market, seeing the market situation and all, if you want to do export and import, is it must to have a strong balance sheet so that we can compete? Because originally the intention will be to earn profit, but also a kind of social thing will be there that we should have many outlets in India first, capture the market in India, then go towards the international level. So how fair is this, sir? I would like to know.
Super question. I love it. First point, who gave you notion that you should have a eligibility to export? You are not supplying to the government. First point. You are
Yes.
supplying to the private market. To export or forget about even the local sales, you should have a strong product. The product should have a value addition. The product should have a quality to it. Product should add a values to the person who consume it. These are the essential part you require. Okay. Now you have that. Okay. So there is a story behind the product. You have to narrate the story and position yourself. People will search for you. You don't have to search for them. I'm talking international market. Now I'll give you an example. I want to tell you something. In a COVID period, yeah, I'll give you a very classic example
Yes.
because I can give my example, so it will be help to you. In a COVID period, the entire world is locked down. Correct? Now, what is happening here? What is happening here? The entire world is locked down, including the Canada is locked down. But I was a strong networking on the LinkedIn. So I used to post something about the agricultural side and all that. So one day I posted, I can tell you, a art which has been created by our creative artist, and that is organic spices. I have not developed anything. I made a beautiful poster and I posted that, and immediately there are 3 clients talking to me. Can you supply me this organic pulses, spices, that is a cardamom and what do you call clove, without extracted oil? I said, yes, we can do. Then what happened? We sent a sample. We said that sample comes in a plain sachet. Once the order comes, we will supply in the cover. We got an order, we supplied it. So where is the skill? Where is the skill? The skill is required how you communicate with the client. You understand, yeah?
Yes, sir.
So there is no acha. Then there is another notion I want to tell you. Being, if you want to, never ever give credit to anybody.
Yes, sir.
You startup people, whenever you start something, this bigger people always try to squeeze the startup. Never ever undermine your values. Never ever undermine your values. I can tell you very openly. Be firm on your stand.
Yes, sir. Very good suggestion.
Yep.
Sir, one more question from audience. Shivam. Sir, I am from Bihar. In our state, the production of Shahi
Wow.
lychee is very high and it is demandable from all the
Muzaffarpur.
countries. How can we preserve these fruits for better logistics?
See, Muzaffarpur, na, that is the audience is Shivam is from Muzaffarpur. The lychee
Yes,
is
sir.
grown in the Muzaffarpur, correct?
Yes.
I tell you, in the COVID time, I got somewhere around 2 tons of lychee by Indigo Airlines from the Muzaffarpur. There is one FPO was there. I just not collectible to name. They had sent me a WhatsApp message, sir, can you take my lychee? So we have taken the lychee from the Muzaffar almost, and we paid 150 rupees per kg as a transportation cost, and we negotiated 40-45 rupees. And then we understood. I was not aware that Muzaffarpur is the only place where lychee comes, and that's an experience for me. I want to tell you. So I'm happy that there is a person from Muzaffarpur. Okay, good. The lychee can be preserved. There are a lot of preserving ways there, as well as you have a lot of units there. You can create a business model talking to them. You can create a lychee syrup. You can create a lychee pulp. You can create so many varieties are there. So that can be always taken offline, but yes, there is a preservative, and there are people working behind. And I have a connect. I can connect you also there. Shivam, I think it satisfied you.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
Any more questions from audience?
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, sir, I am Shubham Chavre Patil. Sir, I want to ask that whenever we start some business or something else, so the situations are not same for all the days. So at certain times, due to some uncertainties or some conditions, the situation might come that we are facing huge losses, and the point can arise that are we means is my decision right to start this, or was I wrong? So sir, how to deal with such situations?
How old you are?
Sorry sir.
How old you are?
Sir, 24 years of
24 years. You ever loved to any girl?
not yet sir.
Not yet. So you have not taken risk. Listen, we take a life risk, marrying unknown woman, which you can't reverse your decision. Correct?
Yes sir, yes sir.
Business is through you, not you. Business decisions are through you, not you. You can always reverse it. Decision has to be taken. If you take the decision, there could be a failure, there could be a successfulness. Failure will teach you this methodology will not work. So next time when you take counter decision, that will make you a better decision maker. So you become a better decision maker. So decision by decision, you have to take decision. Without decision, you can't do anything. So there is no right decision, there is no wrong decision. Every decisions are decision you have to take. So consequences of those decisions can be right or can be wrong. But because people around you gave you hello. Because of your decision consequences which are not in your favorable way, how you think, you talk, this is a wrong decision. So I believe, dear, you should not think like that. You have to take a decision and let's face the consequences. If the consequences are not right also, it will give you a learning phase. And if it is right, it give you a financial growth. That's all. So you should take a decision, I believe.
Thank you sir. Thanks.
Any more questions? I guess it's time, sir.
So I have a message for you all youth. I tell you, you are our future force. I want to tell you, don't be any kind of a dilemma that business cannot be started because I born in a poor family. I am from the background of village areas. I am in Hindi medium. I am Kannada medium. I am so medium. Correct? Never ever think like that. The business are not done by any kind of background surrounding you. It is done by your instinct. What instinct you carry, that what you can be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is coming out of your own gut feeling. You have to come. You work for an experience, but after getting an experience, you start your journey. Entrepreneurship is an amazing journey. I want to tell you, you empower people, and empowering the people itself is a big difference. It makes a lot of difference in you, So always try and thrive for the entrepreneur journey, because the Indians are a dominantly an entrepreneur country. We never been an employee country. So be an entrepreneur. You have to say anything?
So now I request Mr. Rahul to extend vote of thanks to our honorable guest speaker. Over to you, Rahul.
Thank you, Abhilash. Hello, everyone. This is Rahul Balaji from Agmatrix. It's my privilege to extend a vote of thanks to our honorable guest speaker, Mr. Dinesh Kumar Jain, sir. First of all, I take this opportunity to thank our chief guest, Mr. D.K. Jain, CEO OEDC from Bangalore, on behalf of Agmatrix. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for his explanation and an excellent coverage on entrepreneurship in agriculture and allied industries, and also scope of agripreneurs in the near future. And and most importantly, on the attitude to be an entrepreneur. I also wish to express my gratitude for providing encouragement and valuable insights to move towards entrepreneurship for our participants, and also for being kind enough to join with us amidst this schedule. We are all inspired. We are all very inspired by your great words, sir. Thank you for being with us. It's been a great pleasure. I would also thank all the participants who have been active throughout this session and making this webinar more interesting and sharing with us your findings and opinions today. For more such valuable insights regarding certificate training programs organized by Admatrix, I request you to stay tuned with Admatrix. Links of our social media are shared in the chat box. So on the same note of entrepreneurship, Admatrix is organizing EDP program in fisheries sector on the next Saturday and Sunday. So please kindly share in your relevant network for experiencing opportunity to learn from 4 eminent personalities of government and corporate, highly experienced experts in the fisheries domain. Once again, I extend thanks to sir and his team of OEDC, and of course you all participants for making this webinar more interesting and a great learning experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I thank all the participants for joining the meeting and making this huge success. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.